And finally, happening in this week's What the winner of this week's Idiocracy Award goes to my hometown of Wenatchee, Washington, for bringing a part of the movie into the real world. If you haven't seen Idiocracy, even though I call it the scariest horror movie of all time, Wikipedia has it listed as a 2006 American science fiction comedy film directed by Mike Judge and starring Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, and Dax Shepard. The film tells the story of two people who take part in a top-secret military human hibernation experiment, only to awaken 500 years later in a dystopian society where anti-intellectualism and commercialism have run rampant, and which is devoid of intellectual curiosity, social responsibility, and coherent notions of justice and human rights, which is why I call it the scariest horror movie of all times, because we're not supposed to see things from a 500-year mythical future where mankind has de-evolved in real life. This was an outlandish movie that at the time could never become a reality, but 12 years later, and we see things almost daily that could have been ripped straight out of this movie. Like this. In one scene, they showed the outside of a hospital where the signage was just not thought out properly, let alone the name. Something that obviously could never happen in a real-life scenario, right? Oh no, my friends, you would be mistaken. Wenatchee, Washington just unveiled this new sign to the public, one that thousands will see every day as they travel the George Seller Bridge on their way to Wenatchee. And that I'm sure not one, not two, but at the very least 3 people would have had to have looked at and said, yep, that looks good to me. Now, it's not all the city's fault as they outsourced the work to a Linwood company called TransBlue. Why they went with a company out there with such horrible reviews is anyone's guess. It should make me giggle because, like the movie, they even ran out of room at the end and had to curve the word down, but it just makes me sad for the future of humanity. This movie was supposed to be a comedy, not a documentary of the future. Please, society, I beg of you, let this be the last thing out of this movie that appears in real life. Or else before you know it, we'll have President Camacho in the White House.